Someone here from WynnStrength.com. On this video, I wanted to talk about mindset. Aristotle once said, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And on this video, I wanted to talk about setting habits rather than focusing on goals. It comes about just because I think it's a good thing that shifted my own personal training has been the focus on my inputs rather than focusing on my outputs. And by that, I mean I'm not too stressed or worried about the weights that I lift in the gym. Rather, I'm more worried about the day-to-day processes that I do in order to attain those goals. So one of my goals is to have a 6-plate deadlift. Just recently deadlifted 515 pounds. Obviously, next up has to be 585. But with that in mind, I'm not necessarily focused on me not achieving 585. I'm more focused on what are the strategies, what is the training, and what do I have to do day by day, week by week in order to hit that goal. And just because I might not hit it this year, I might hit it this year, that isn't really what I'm worried about. I'm worried about, did I get today's training session in? Did I hit the weights that I should have hit today? Did I eat right? Did I sleep right? Are these habits that I should have in place, and am I executing them? Because I know that if I execute these habits and live a life where these habits are being continually executed on, then my goal inevitably has to fall in line. And it's not a matter of if, but just a matter of when. And that's going to depend on the person. Some people out there are really able to shine at weightlifting, and they have a genetic capacity for it. So they're going to achieve great strength in a lot sooner of a time frame than someone like me that's probably a little bit slower and has to progress at a different rate. But just because we're progressing at different rates doesn't mean that I have to worry about not hitting that goal, because I'm putting in the daily habits necessary in order to reach those goals that I've set for myself. And I think when we look at it from the other way, rather than always focusing on the destination, I mean, it's a cliche and it sounds super cheesy, but it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. And I think that I'm going to interpret that as not being about enjoying the journey, but rather focusing on the journey to get you to that goal. Because inevitably, once you hit that goalpost is going to move. Last year, I wanted to deadlift 5 plates. Deadlifted 5 plates, so next up has to be 6 plates. That goalpost is always going to be moving further and further away as you hit each milestone. You're going to think, oh, okay, cool, I can do more. All right, cool, I can do more. Every step of the way, that's what's going to happen. But what doesn't change is the fact that every day you have to do something in order to reach that goal and reach that next step. And when we focus on that, I found myself removing a lot of the, overthought and potentially stressful thoughts about not achieving that goal, because I'm focused on, did I do my daily activities that help me achieve that goal? So and those daily activities are going to change. As long as you set that time in to do the work, then it's fine. So for example, with training, the strategy that I'm using this week is totally different from the strategy that I was using 3 years ago. The training programs, the weights being lifted, the recovery that's needed, the time in between sets, how I breathe, embrace my technique for simply executing the lifts. They're all different now than they were before, because what got me here is not going to get me here. And you're going to learn that along the way. That's all part of the process. But the fact that I am still plugging away at the separate daily activities that I need to do in order to get to that point has not changed. I'm still training in the gym as hard as I can most of the time. I'm still sleeping as well as I can. I'm still focusing on eating right. So all these habits are going into my goals and going into my actions, and that's what's going to lead to these results of being able to hit those weight milestones. And I heard a great quote from Evan Michael earlier this week, where he talks about our patience levels, and we're impatient with the wrong things and patient with other things. So the common mindset is that I need to be impatient with reaching the goal, but I need to be very patient with the work that I do to get there. Whereas we should flip that and be really impatient about the day-to-day activities that we need to do in order to hit those goals, and don't really worry about if we'll hit the goals and when we'll hit the goals. Just know that if we put in this work, we're going to hit these goals, because just like breaking a bread loaf, if you put in all the ingredients, mix it all correctly as per the instructions, and put it into the oven, after 40 minutes, am I worried that there's not going to be a bread loaf in there? No, I'm just like, oh, cool, in 40 minutes or an hour, I'll have a bread loaf. Whether that bread loaf is what I envisioned it to be might be a different story. I might have to reassess and relearn the recipe, figure out where I went wrong. But I did this process, and at the end of it, I'll have a bread loaf of some sort. Whether it's good or bad, I'll have a bread loaf. And I was never worried along the way that I won't hit that bread loaf. And I know that it takes time to get there. I didn't start the bread loaf at 6 p.m. and at 6:01 when I'm still mixing the flour. I'm not questioning why my bread doesn't exist. It's impossible for it to exist until it's baked. So from step one to here is an inevitable stretch of time that has to occur. There are steps that have to occur in order for me to get there. Just like training in the gym, I don't expect to walk into the gym day one never having touched a weight before, and then all of a sudden I can deadlift 500 pounds. That takes years. If you really give it, that might take months. But that still takes a lot of training, a lot of time, a lot of hard work. And all of that has to happen before you're able to hit that milestone. And then when you hit that milestone, you're going to be back here at square one, like, oh, how do I deadlift more weight than that? And I'm going to have to go through a whole nother series of steps in order to get there. I'm still going to have to put in that work. That's going to be the one thing that doesn't change. I'm still going to have to put in that effort day to day and be relentless in pushing that work, pushing that envelope, pushing my limits, and really digging in deep when it's necessary in order to hit that goal. But as long as I do all these steps, I shouldn't be worried about hitting this goal, because this goal is going to get there eventually. You see? Because I can't fail if I put in all that work, especially when you've done the research, you've put in the hard work, you've actually executed, and that actually executing is going to be so much more important than trying to figure out what to do. If we sat around all day and only ever focused on baking a bread loaf, but I never actually mixed flour and water and yeast together, I'm never going to have a bread loaf. No matter how many times I watch a video about baking bread, no matter how many books I read, no matter how many recipes I remember, I'm never going to have a bread loaf until I get in there and mix the flour, the water, and the yeast and bake it, which takes time. And that's just the simple fact of the matter, is you have to get in that work and you have to execute on a continual basis. And it's not just simply executing. We have to be executing and then doing that to the best of our abilities, which is going to mean different things for different tasks. But as long as you can walk into an activity with 100% of your heart and mind into it, and at the end of that activity, you can look back and say, yes, I gave everything that I could give to that activity. I executed as well as I could. I gave it the best of my abilities. And what the result is irrelevant, because you've personally achieved more than you did an hour or 2 hours or a week or a year ago. So you have to remember to focus on these inputs. Yes, have benchmarks along the way. Yes, have indicators of success along the way. Have some key performance indicators that will address whether you're being successful, if you're on the right path. Just like we have a GPS or a map to guide us there, we still have to know where on the map we are in order to get to where we need to get to. And we need to keep track of if we're following the correct route in order to get to our final destination. If we just keep driving, we might be driving really well, really fast, hitting all the green lights and no roadblocks. But if we're driving in the complete opposite direction, we're never going to hit where we need to be. So we need to drive, we need to execute, and we just need to reassess along the way to make sure that we're still going down that path of success and excellence. A lot of analogies. I kind of went all over the place. I hope this video helps you with your mindset. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything you want to add to the conversation. This has been Selling from WynnStrength, and remember, a better life through strength.